got in this 3-month period 23,000 announced black holes over a 3-month period. And we observed the least specific we observed was a /18, even though most of the announcements were /32. And we got a stable number of 1,200 active black holes over time at any given time, which means the DKIX customers find it a useful tool. It's more than 55 ASs that use black holing. And in the case study, we pointed out that it indeed succeeds to mitigate DDoS attacks, and that it is a useful feature that you get at DKIX and some other IXPs to use as a last resort. Probably not what you want to do in the first place, but it really helps you if your peering link or your entire network is at risk. And if you're really curious about this topic and want to go into all the details, you can find our paper online, and there will be another presentation with more details, and the paper is going to appear next week at the Passive Active Measurement Conference. Thank you. This was my talk. If you have any comments, questions, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Christophe, for this informative presentation. Any questions? Okay, Nishal.
Hi there, my name is Nishal. I'm from INC.ZA, the South African Internet Community's Internet Exchange Point. This was a fascinating talk, thank you. I followed the developments and read the draft several times over. We don't do this at the exchange points that I run, mainly because I've been lazy, but I'm hoping to fix that in the next few months. You answered a lot of my questions with your summary, so I think there was just 2 that I have left. The first was the statistics that you presented. Was that just for DKIX Frankfurt, or was it across the sum of the exchange points that you operate?
That was just DKIX Frankfurt. I got some numbers for other exchange points, but they're not, since they're not that big yet, not that many customers use it by now, but the black holing feature is also available in New York, for instance. But okay. This was just Frankfurt.
Okay, thank you. And then the second question is, obviously you're able to track who is sending you, or which of your members are sending you valid announcements for more specifics, and that's part of the black holing service. Do you have statistics on which members were potentially abusing this by trying to inject more specifics for prefixes that they should not necessarily have been of? So do you have a way to separate what, I guess in Cisco terms, would be the received routes versus routes?
I see where you're going. The point is /32 or more specifics or very specifics in particular are only allowed if you have the next hop to the black holing IP. So this is a way to be able to verify if this is a valid /32 or an invalid /32 announcement.
Okay, so you didn't have numbers of someone who was trying to do something nasty, me trying to...
No.
Okay.
No.
Thanks.
It's like what we tried for the paper, just to don't violate your privacy. I just used the public data source, which is the looking glass, and the looking glass doesn't give me information on what was rejected and the reason for the rejection. But the way to verify is if a /32 is valid or not is just focusing on the next hop IP address. Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much, Christophe. Thank you.
Thank you.
So our next talk will be about Hello APT in the Middle East by Mohammad Amin from Kaspersky.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for your presence here with us today. Hope you're all safe and you stay safe. My name is Mohammad Amin Hasbin, and I am a senior security researcher with Kaspersky Lab, Global Research and Analysis Team. We are the people who do the investigation of attacks, advanced attacks around the world. We are the people who publish around these activities. And our presentation today, we still have 30 minutes to lunch, so I'll try to make it quick. Our presentation today is around two of the very powerful attacks. So it's not a presentation about services or products, it's a presentation about actual attacks happening in the region, in the Middle East, targeting mainly, or in many cases, not always, but in many cases, targeting service providers, ISPs, DSPs, etc. So we did publish on many of these attacks, but sadly we don't have time to talk about the whole list. It's not even here, so this is just a few of the recent. We will be talking about two of these, which are some of the most powerful, which use advanced attacks, which use 0 days and infiltrate very powerful entities around the world. What we see at the moment is that the attacks are divided into multiple sections. So we have the normal traditional cybercrime, which is targeting everyone, the normal stuff. We have the corporate stuff that could be looking for money, huge amounts of money, like Karbanak, for example. Or it could be looking for intelligence, for example, between competitors, right? But we also have this 0.1% at the top, and this is what is actually worrying the most. It is the cyber weapons. It is the state-sponsored attacks that cost millions and millions of dollars, and that can go anywhere, anyhow, that can manipulate infrastructure, that can redirect infrastructure traffic, and can cause a lot of damage, including industrial damage. So we start with Hijacking. Hijacking is, these are some attacks that we've seen in the last few years. They were running for a very long time, and they targeted many organizations around the world. You can see from the list, mainly, you can see telecom operators being infected. You can see government institutions, multinational political bodies, financial institutions, research institutions, and people that do cryptography. These were also targeted by Hijacking, and Hijacking was looking for intelligence, was looking for money, was not looking for money, it was looking for intelligence around governments around the world, and plus cryptography information. How can we decrypt certain algorithms? How can certain algorithms be bypassed? Etc., etc. In the case of the financial institutions, let me tell you that these were used to attack other institutions. So having them as organizations in the middle, as intermediates to government entities. From the code analysis, from the malware analysis, we were able to identify even some keywords, some funny keywords that were in the code that could indicate the language of the attackers. You can see here Starbucks, etc. And this could, for example, help in identifying the attackers later on, but anyone could write these keywords, of course, in the code. We were even able to collect logs from one of the victims, and these logs, anyone can quickly identify what these logs do. These logs are commands to mobile towers. These people were able to control mobile towers and mobile through the infection of mobile operators. You can see also the list of commands and their description: show external alarm, enable forwarding, stop cell in the GSM network, activate cell. These will then be able to redirect calls, maybe, and maybe turn off infrastructures. We're not sure. In one country, which is not far from here, these people infected an educational institution, a bank, a research institute, to reach the president's office. They created a network in between these entities, and then they would infiltrate the traffic from the president's office to the bank or the educational institution, and then to their centers. This is something that was never seen before. They created some type of peer-to-peer network in between these institutions, and IT security officers and IT security experts inside the president's office looking at the traffic, they would see traffic going to the bank or the research institute or the educational institute. So they would think someone is visiting their banking website, their mobile banking, their banking information, or their university. And that's how they were able to infiltrate and spy on the president's office for quite some time. Regin had victims in many different countries around the world, and they were all very large entities and organizations. Summary: these people were running for more than 10 years, probably, as per the traces that we found in the code and the samples list. They had very long infections. They were able to attack telecom operators, reside inside telecom operators, and control their services and products, control their infrastructure, their mobile towers. And this is most probably using, of course, many 0 days, plus there is only a limited organizations that are capable of doing so. So this costs millions and millions of dollars, and of course, some government probably is behind such attacks. So this is Regin, quite quick. We move to the second story. Turla. Turla is something that we've been tracking at Kaspersky for a very long time. And we uncovered multiple attacks, like stages of their attacks. And this is from 2014. These are attacks that targeted many countries in the Middle East, and they used 0 days. They used infections. It's not very clear. But this is from a ministry in a country inside the region. They infected their website, so everyone going to their website, to the website of this ministry, would get infected. And you can see the list of files they would send, for example, to the victims. In many cases, in other cases, they used 0 days. They targeted government entities. You can see also the list here: military, research. But there are no telecom operators in this list, and you will see now why. So later on, tracking these Turla people, we were able to investigate even more of their attacks, how they try to hide their attacks. Which brought us to December 2015, Turla satellite research. And these people were able to do multiple things, including the hijacking of routes around the world and the redirection of routes. They infected they infected telecom operators to do, in some cases, BGP hijacking. So they would redirect traffic through some different nodes around the world. And in other cases, they redirect the traffic through satellite providers to listen on the traffic. So to explain that, satellite providers, they were able to decrypt traffic from these satellite providers going into, for example, regions in Africa, in North Africa, or in Europe, which is not very difficult, by the way. And they would, when they redirect the traffic from the victims to the satellite, they would be able to listen on the information being stolen in Europe and North Africa. For example, I'm just stating these as example. So in upload, they would do BGP hijacking. In download, they would do redirections through satellite providers, and that's how they were able to do their whole campaign anonymously, without being detected. From a satellite provider's perspective, these were able to infect many around the world, including some in our region here. 2 providers in Lebanon, 2 providers in Nigeria, 1 in Iraq, UAE, Denmark, UK, Zambia, Afghanistan, and Somalia, etc. And using these redirection, they were able to collect data from the victims without anyone knowing. The satellite coverage is a whole region. It could be, for example, a whole continent or multiple continents, right? And anyone there listening on the traffic with a small transponder can collect the information. Furthermore, this is an example of a route hijacking that was done on traffic going from Chicago to Tehran in Iran. And you can see the traffic is supposed to go Chicago, Warsaw, Tehran, 1, 2, 3. But instead of doing so, the traffic would then go to Toronto, Montreal, Liverpool, Amsterdam, Warsaw, Moscow, Minsk, Warsaw, what is that? Hounslow, New York, and then Tehran. A whole trip around the world to pass through certain nodes that could be used to inject traffic. In other cases, this is also one of the routes that were specific to one of their command centers that was also hijacked. But the interesting stuff is the list of victims. These included many organizations around the world, governments, embassies, military, education, research, and pharmaceuticals, even pharmaceuticals. Even in some of the attacks related to pharmaceuticals, we've seen shipments of specific use were redirected, for example, or modified to go to other places instead of their targets. These also included victims in the region, so it's not only using telecom providers in the region, but also targeting organizations in the region, and that's why we are here telling you about these attacks. Another interesting thing is one of the satellites that were used in the attacks had coverage over North Africa, Europe, and a little spot over Moscow. I don't know what that means. So even the routes had also indicators that could help in identifying the source of the attacks or where they're coming from. Anyway, as a summary, these people are definitely well-funded, are definitely well-organized, and are definitely capable. They do hijacking of BGP routes plus satellite providers. We've seen them infecting some of the telecom operators to do the BGP hijacking. In other cases, we've seen them do partial or just rerouting for very small amounts of time. They try to maintain full anonymity without having the need even to go through, for example, the Tor network or anonymity tools, sorry. And these are definitely attacks that cost millions and millions of dollars and must probably have a government behind them. Which brings us to the conclusion. Threat intelligence. Knowing about these attacks for telecom providers, especially in the region here, as we see many of these attacks happening, this is extremely important. Why? Because it helps in identifying the threats and preparing for them. And this is an example of what we see here in the region. And this is what you see. You see the sea, but what is happening down is much, much more active. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please do let us know.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for the presentation. I just have one question about the region attack. You mentioned it is targeting the mobile operators.
Yes.
So is it for the GSM operators or is it for 3G, 4G, any specific vendor, mobile vendor?
Well, these are ongoing investigations, so we are not allowed to share a lot, but at the moment we have logs from GSM networks. The logs that I've shown are for GSM networks. But most probably these people have enough capabilities. Does that answer your question? Maybe.
Yeah, and somehow, because the commands that I've seen in the presentation is more into Motorola commands for the BTS, for the GSM.
Okay.
I don't think so that commands will be, I would say, working on 3G or 4G because the architecture of the mobile have changed a lot.
Yes.
So it's just only a comment.
Yes, true. These logs are exactly for GSM mobile towers, which are everywhere. Any other questions? If you have any questions, please, you can also get in touch with us. Here's our contact. Thank you very much. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
I'm
Muhammad.
early, huh?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. And so we'll have a lunch break after 10 minutes from now.